It is what it is, my God. It is what it is. Yeah. I was so scared, don't show me love. Now I do it like a saying while I run it up. Tell me, boy, you insane, on the way is up. It's your welcome to the 20s, I ain't holding up. I was so scared, don't show me love. Now I do it like a saying while I run it up. Tell me, boy, you insane, on the way is up. It's your welcome to the 20s, I ain't holding up.
Hello, everybody. How you guys holding up? Welcome back to KeyCast, the podcast that unlocks new doors. Thank you guys for showing your support on all social medias, on Twitter, Instagram, anything. We appreciate all of it, for following our Instagram, for shouting it out, listening to the podcast, our first episode on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, anything that you did to show your support for this podcast. We do appreciate it. I just want to get that out of the way before we started our episode today. Um, it was, we've been waiting to put this out for a long time, and just to see all the support streaming in, it was a sight to see, to say the least. If you didn't listen to our first episode just yet, just be sure to go check that out. Just to give you guys a quick run through of what it was about. It was about the whole Black Lives Matter movement, the George Floyd incident, and everything that's going on in the United States of America currently, and the world really. And this whole Black Lives Matter kind of struck a chord with the politics world, and it maybe caused a divide with the whole policing system and people on both sides of it. Uh, this has kind of stemmed into the sports realm as of late. As I've always said, as a person who is an avid watcher of sports and an avid follower of politics, that sports is the largest uniter of people, but politics is the largest divider of people. And these two things that seem as completely uh, polar opposites can be very much intertwined. And I think a big example of that took front stage on last 2 weeks ago at the Talladega Super Speedway, when the NASCAR drivers helped push Bubba Wallace's car to the front of the start line. If you guys don't know the story, it was an apparent noose found in Bubba Wallace's garage that morning of the race, one of the biggest races in NASCAR, uh, and this seemed to be a hate crime against Bubba Wallace, as NASCAR is a league that is predominantly white. I'm pretty sure Bubba Wallace is the only black NASCAR driver, which is kind of crazy to me. I, a person who's watched NASCAR in the past, didn't really realize that there isn't a black driver until now, and uh, with the whole situations with the Confederate flag and the NASCAR races as well, and everything popping up, it kind of you know uh, took front stage within the sports realm and the politics world as well. It was the only garage rope that was fashioned in a noose. Out of all of the ropes in the Talladega Super Speedway, there were no ropes fashioned in that style except for the one found in Bubba Wallace's garage. Uh, I just want to give you guys like a quick question. Do you guys think that this was a supposed hate crime, or is this just a coincidence that had a positive outcome because of it?
I say it goes like both ways, right? Like first of all, like a noose, like indicating like hangings of African Americans like previously, right? It's obviously like a hate crime or some sort of hate towards them, maybe because of like this movement, or if this was done previously or prior, right? Regardless, it would still be a hate crime. However, the result of it and like the response from like his racers and media was good, which is like a good thing. But it's more of like it's like a two-way street, you know.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. There was definitely a positive message that came out because
Yeah.
of it. But who knows if it was a hate crime in the first place? But at the end of the day, there was a noose that was found in his garage. Rather, if it was tied in October 2019, or if it was tied that morning of that race and was intended for Bubba Wallace, it doesn't matter because there was a noose there,
Is
right?
however, like I say though, to find like the truth of it, I think it's gonna be really hard because, like, as we can already notice, the FBI's like covered up a lot of the story. For example, the image of the news only came out just recently, right? And they were claiming it was just like a piece of rope, but if you look at the pictures, like it's pretty evident that it's a noose, like the way it's tied, the way it's hanging, right? It's not just on the floor; it's like hanging with the loop at the end.
I actually don't think it's a coincidence because what are the chances that the only black NASCAR racer has a noose being tied in his garage? Like, what are the odds?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it was apparently tied back in October 2019. So even if it was tied in October 2019, it doesn't matter if it was coincidence or not. That's what I want to say here.
Yeah.
There was a noose found in his garage. So somebody tied it. Somebody thought it was a joke. That, oh, it's a garage pull door. Let's tie it as a noose. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, the message that came out of it is more important than the incident itself, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I feel like if his racers or like the media would like not not make like a positive a message, right, of like the
Yeah,
situation and how people were supporting like the racer and like pushed him to the front line, which is kind of like in a way showing their support, for how like it's unacceptable for like what happened to him.
And
exactly.
it was a great thing to see everyone just rally around him and support him because
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel if I saw a noose in a garage, bro. Like that's kind of scary to me.
Yeah. And it's big for NASCAR, like the NASCAR league that is really like just almost all the drivers except for Bubba Wallace are white, right?
Hmm.
So it's a big for a league to take this huge leap forward
Yeah.
and support the Black Lives Matter movement and Bubba Wallace
And not only
himself.
that, I feel like this will also like boost the confidence of other like black racers that like aspire to race in the NASCAR.
Yeah,
Like all the barriers, for example, Jackie Robinson in baseball and like etc. and so on, right? So I feel like it's a good also a message to send to like the young kids that are like aspiring to be racers but are like
yeah.
afraid of the like the prejudice and the racism, including in that.
Exactly. And, this is not only a good thing for the world to see that NASCAR is accepting these black drivers, but it's also a good business move for NASCAR. We can't forget that
Hmm.
because it can also maybe influence young people, young black men to try and be the Bubba Wallace in the future.
And
Um,
to be honest, before now, NASCAR really hasn't been in the news for anything, you know.
exactly. It's one of the
So
more
It's like
less
the
popular.
PK Subban effect.
yeah, I might watch a NASCAR race and cheer for Bubba Wallace now. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? NASCAR was one of the first North American leagues to really open up their business back up during this whole world pandemic. But across the pond, we're seeing this with the most popular sport in the world, football, soccer, whatever you want to call it, in Europe has been opening up their leagues, such as the La Liga, the Bundesliga, the Serie A, and not to forget the English Premier League.
Yo, I just want to say
Now,
something, right? Yeah,
yeah.
for everyone out there, it's football. It's football. You
Whatever you
kick it
want
with
to
your
call
foot. It's
it.
football, okay?
All right, but the Bundesliga and the English Premier League have both crowned their champions. I want to start off with the Bundesliga first because me being a person that is a fan of Borussia Dortmund, it sucks to see Bayern Munich win their eighth straight title.
And it was close this year.
Somebody, somebody has to dethrone these freaking people, bro. This is so
It
annoying.
was super close this year, bro. It
It
was. It
was,
was. And
it
they
was the game that I watched, Borussia versus Bayern. I didn't watch a lot of games to be fair, but like I would watch Dortmund games and the Dortmund Munich game. It was so infuriating to see because Dortmund had so many chances, but they couldn't get past the strong defense of Davies, Boateng, and Manuel Neuer at in the goal. It's just so infuriating, man. And really, what like pisses me off about Munich is that they're just so good and they just keep funneling the talent back up to the top. As we see, they have this winger turned left backer in Alfonso Davies, who's just amazing as a 19-year-old. His pace is incredible, and to see a person just transform their whole entire game into something that is totally different from what they usually played is just a sight to see. But a person that's a Dortmund fan, it sucks that he's on Munich. But a person who supports fellow Canadian athletes, it is amazing to see him excel in such a way.
yeah.
But just why for Munich, man? Why for Munich? The Liverpool won their finally was crowned their championship though, a long deserved 30-year wait. A couple weeks, almost like last week now. Um, uh, Liverpool, what 30 years? It's kind of crazy to see like that it took this long, and all this talent that they had for 30 years, that it took this long, finally, this long, for them to just dominate the whole league and
They
just
they came
finally win
close a
the
couple
title.
times. You know, they came close a couple times. Was it
Ste
2012? Was Steven
20,
Gerrard?
yeah, it was
Uh,
2012.
yeah,
It was
that
insane.
one tackle that just, oh my days.
He slipped. It wasn't even a tackle. It was more of a
Oh,
slip. Yeah, he just slipped. But I don't know. Liverpool, their dominance this whole entire calendar year has just been incredible to watch as a sports fan, because this team just just kept building and building, and they were going to be a threat to come, and then boom, it just happened out of nowhere. Jurgen Klopp, as I said, like out of any team that is not Arsenal in the Premier League, I would like to see Liverpool win, because a reason why I became a Dortmund fan back in the day was because when Jurgen Klopp was the manager, and Jurgen Klopp coming into English Premier League and just showing that he is just an incredible manager, and I love his enthusiasm for the game, his passion for the game, and just to see him build that team, build that roster, and them to become the champions of Europe, the champions of England, and then the champions of the world is just amazing to see, because this team really just came out of nowhere. Um, and if it wasn't Arsenal gonna win the title, I'm glad to see that it's Liverpool and not like a team like Man U or Chelsea or even Tottenham
they worked
to
out
win it.
throughout the year. I think they deserve it, bro. They
Yeah,
deserve it.
they did. The point difference between them and second place is almost
It's
30
wild. It's
points.
wild. It's wild.
It's wild. They lost one game the entire year. They're not the Invincibles just yet,
It's actually
but
23. That's crazy.
yeah, 23. Yeah, and they're not the Invincibles just yet. They didn't go a whole season being unbeaten,
They
but
might do it
they
next
did.
season. They
They
might.
might do it. They might. Their team is just amazing from top to bottom. They have Virgil van Dijk at the back. Mo Salah, we already know who he is. This guy's incredible. But I'm glad to see it's Liverpool and not a team like Tottenham. God forbid.
All right, let's talk about the Liga now. So basically, yeah,
Yeah,
league is back. I think it's been back for how many? I think up to a month now. It's been back for over a month.
almost a month. Almost a
Yeah,
month. Yeah.
and basically, it's actually super close this year. It's Barcelona and Real Madrid going head to head. There's only a point difference between them, and Barcelona is ahead of game, but they're in second place. So we'll see how that plays out. Messi, they played a game today with Atletico Madrid. I think they tied. Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out, bro. I don't know who my money is on but Barcelona is a game ahead, and they're a point behind. So who knows? But
It's it's
Messi the
it's a
magician. So
close goddamn
it's a
race,
really
bro.
close round.
It's crazy to see that Real Madrid, even with the loss of
Of
Ronaldo,
Ronaldo, yeah.
still has the capability to rebuild their team from within or without to really challenge for the top title. Because when Ronaldo left, people thought Real Madrid was just going to fall down the cliff, maybe finish third, fourth, but they're still challenging for a top with the likes of Barcelona and the likes of Atletico Madrid. But right now, it looks like it's only going to be a battle between them and Barca
Yeah,
at the
but
moment.
they have the least amount of goals allowed this season, 21 goals allowed, and they scored 60 goals, while Barcelona scored 74 goals this season, and they both have the same amount of goal difference. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Barcelona is scoring more goals than them, but Real Madrid still has the same amount of goal difference as them.
Yeah, what's crazy to me is that Real Madrid is doing this with
Without
with
Ronaldo.
without Ronaldo and having Eden Hazard struggle for a majority of the season. I'm pretty sure he was injured as well, because he's only played 14 games this whole entire year. But he even when he was playing, he wasn't playing his best. He came back when the league came back, but he's not playing like Eden Hazard as we know that we saw in Chelsea. And it's kind of crazy that they're still doing all these things, but they don't have their big free agent acquisition or transfer acquisition and Eden Hazard not playing to his full capability.
I mean, Karim Benzema has been coming through. He has 17 goals in the Liga this season, bro. That's five behind
Yeah.
Messi.
Benzema has shown that he's finally has that chance to prove himself and that he is one of the best soccer players in the world right now. And he really didn't have that opportunity with Ronaldo, because Ronaldo's always going to take the light over anybody
Yeah.
that's on his team. And now as him being the person that is that's being set up for the goals, he's finally showing that, hey, I'm still really goddamn good. Don't forget about me.
That's
which is
true. That's
crazy.
true.
This is a team that has Benzema, as you mentioned, Ramos, Tony Cruz still, Luka Modric, who won the Ballon d'Or a couple of years ago, Isco, Gareth Bale still on Real Madrid. Shocking to see that he hasn't been transferred with all those rumors in the past. Eden Hazard, as we past mentioned, but he's not playing as well. Marcelo was still there. They even have a Thibaut Courtois at the back. It's a good team. It's a good team. You can't forget Real Madrid is a good team, but even without Ronaldo. But it's going to be an interesting finish to say the least.
Yeah, and let's not forget, UEFA's resuming soon, bro, in August. Well, that's not soon.
Oh, it's gonna
7th
be
of August,
crazy.
they coming back. They coming back. I'm trying to see
What
that this year.
what sucks is Leipzig lost their best player for the UEFA Champions League return. RB Leipzig. He went to Chelsea because he wanted to like go there so bad that they fastened the move for him to go over to Chelsea. So when the UEFA Champions League does return in August, he won't be playing for Leipzig, which sucks for Leipzig because they look like they had a promising team this year and maybe could pull a Ajax like what Ajax did last year
I don't
and
think he's
maybe
gonna be able to
challenge.
play for Chelsea either, because like
I'm
UEFA
I'm
has a
not
rule
sure.
that I know. I don't think it doesn't count as a mid-season transfer, does it?
I'm not sure if it does, but I know UEFA has a rule where
Yeah,
if you play for one team in the Champions League, you can't play for another.
another team. And
Yeah,
I,
I'm
I saw something on Sky Sports today saying that Man United won't offer more than £50 million for Jadon Sancho. Doesn't make any sense to me, bro. It does.
oh,
It does.
please, Sancho, please don't leave Dortmund. And if you do leave Dortmund, come to Arsenal. Don't go to Man U,
He's not gonna go to
man.
Arsenal. I think he should go to Man United. I'm an Arsenal fan, but I do want to see him go to Man United and play
Yeah, I don't know.
when
I don't want anybody
Bruno
doing
and
Man
all of the
United, bro.
boys.
If you're gonna leave Dortmund, might as well go to Arsenal. Even though you probably don't need a striker at this point, or like a forward, offense player. We do need defense at this time, as we've seen with their loss to Brighton Hove and Albion. But uh, don't go to Man U. We don't like Man U over here. We're not Man U fans. But talking about Arsenal, man, it's been a sad time to be an Arsenal fan
I think we're
this
11th
year.
right now. That's crazy, bro.
Ninth, I think actually. But like they're not in a race for top
We're
four.
not even we're not even fighting for a Europa spot.
Okay, they're 10th.
That's
They're
sad.
10th.
That's
They're
sad.
behind teams such as Wolverhampton, Burnley, and get this, Sheffield United. Arsenal, when the league returned, they lost their first game 3-0 versus Man City. And that game, the first like 20 minutes, Arsenal was playing pretty well. And then Pablo Mari got injured. David Luiz got subbed in. And David Luiz had two big blunders that cost them the game. How did Arsenal respond? Signing David Luiz to a contract extension. As an Arsenal fan, or a person that was born into a Arsenal family,
Yeah.
seeing them waste prime years of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is infuriating. Aubameyang is one of the best players that has walked through Arsenal's doors in the past 10 years. And a person who was a fan of Dortmund when Aubameyang was on Dortmund, and seeing him come to Arsenal, who is my more favorite team, right? It shows, like for me, it shows like, oh my god, we're trying to win something, and then they just go out and just waste 2 years of prime Aubameyang. He just turned 31, I think,
Yeah.
and he
He's got
has
a lot of good
wasted
years here.
the past 2.5 years dwindling on Arsenal's front line. You
Bro.
know how infuriating that is, bro? That's so annoying because Aubameyang is my favorite soccer player in the world, and just to see him just not accomplish anything on this trash team, it just pisses me off, bro. It pisses me off.
Bro, since the league resumed, we haven't won a game, bro.
No, they have. They beat Southampton 2-0 on the road.
Well, that was
to be
2-1. That was
fair,
the last game. Okay.
but to be fair, it was Southampton who is Southampton was what 13th in the league. It doesn't matter. So, just to see Arsenal just not do well this entire year, people blamed it on the manager Unai Emery, who looked like he had a promising summer transfer season window, like the whole him getting Pepe and maybe Kieran Tierney is gonna make a difference in the back end. It looks like they're gonna be on the uprising, and then dumb just to
Uh,
play bad, bad
it's one
game
of our
after bad game
it's one of
after
our
bad
worst
game.
seasons in recent years, bro. It's one of the
And
worst
then
seasons in a while.
in December, when Mikel Arteta came back, it came in, stepped in, and looked like they're gonna be good, and the team is just in shambles right now. The roster is in
I think
shambles.
Arteta needs some time.
Arteta needs some time.
He's
Like
a young
his
coach. He doesn't
philosophy,
have a lot of experience.
his philosophy on the game is good. I'm not saying that he's bad. I'm just saying the roster that he was given is just in shambles. And we've seen that in the Europa League when they lost to Olympiacos. I think that was one of the only times like I got so angry, almost cried at a soccer game. I never get cry at sports games. I never do. And a person that is not even doesn't you watch soccer like that, and I almost went into tears. It's just it says a lot because Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored that wonder goal, that bicycle kick that looked like Arsenal's going through to the next stage. They're going in, and then for them to allow a goal in the dying minutes that puts Olympiacos on top, and then Aubameyang to have a chance to really put it back into Arsenal's favor. He has a sitter of a goal, and he muffs it, and everybody's just roasting him on Twitter. You know how annoying that is? Because the only reason Arsenal was there in the first place is because of Aubameyang. So how are you going to get mad at the person that brought you there? It pisses me off, bro. The prime Aubameyang being wasted at Arsenal is just annoying, and then the fact that his contract ending June 2021, and it looks like he's not happy there.
I don't think he's
Uh,
gonna resign, bro. If I was
it
him,
looks
I
like he
wouldn't
might
resign.
leave, which is going to be annoying because we had such a star on our team, and it looks like they can do some magical things with the Lacazette, Aubameyang, Ozil. They brought in Pepe. You know, the offense, Mkhitaryan, who is announced that he is not going to be playing with Arsenal anymore, is going to be moving to a different team. Actually, um, it doesn't sit well in my heart as an Arsenal fan that they wasted these past couple years and did nothing in terms of achievements. Hopefully they can bring him back in the years to come, but right now it's just a sad time to be an Arsenal fan. It's very, very sad and very annoying. So as we can see, there are sports leagues opening up across the pond in Europe and in Asia, with the Korean Baseball League in Asia, the Taiwanese Baseball League in Asia. As we mentioned, the soccer football leagues, as Samuel calls it, opening up in Europe. Back in North America, there are sports leagues that have announced the return to play plans. Teams have already are going to begin to report tomorrow in the MLB. Juno, I know you're a big baseball fan. Tell me what you think is going to happen with MLB. Is it going to be a rocky start? Do you think it's going to smooth over the time, or do you think it's going to be a hard time beginning the season?
Well, to be honest, the major factor that's even gonna like determine all of this is the fact that if like the key players of a certain teams do not contract COVID-19, because it would really suck for like publicity, for like financially, if for example, let's say the Toronto Blue Jays, if players such as Guerrero or Bichette or etc., right, if they were to contract the virus. So I feel like as long as many of the key players, right, are healthy, the league should go undergo like smoothly. But there have been a lot of progression among the teams, with a lot of trades happening. For example, Ryon Jin of the Toronto Blue Jays, runner up for Cy Young, and players such as Bichette, Guerrero, here locally in Toronto, as they've already developed, and many teams acquiring a lot of players.
Yeah.
Like Matt Kemp, also just recently signed to Colorado. So I feel like it's gonna be a good season. However, we can't really predict how COVID-19 will affect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Baseball has always been a sport that is very unpredictable. I feel like baseball is
Exactly.
a sport all about runs. Like as we saw last year, like the Nationals, around like the middle of the season, they looked like they were down and out. They're not going to even make the playoffs, let alone win the World Series. But they did just that.
Like one thing, exactly. Like one thing I love about baseball is like it's truly like a game of miracles. Like you can never expect something to happen, but once a team catches that hot streak, you just never know.
Yeah, exactly. We saw that back in the day and a couple years ago with the Blue Jays doing their magical run, with the Josh Johnsons, the Bautistas, and Encarnacions. But baseball is a sport that is all about runs and streaks, very unpredictable, very wild, which is very interesting to watch. Like the climatic uh, ends for baseball are one of the best in sports, in my
Exactly.
opinion,
How
because walk off home runs and
exactly.
all that. So it's a very fun sport to watch. Like I'm not don't get me wrong, but with
But an input I'd like to add is like I really like I'm not 100% sure how it'll like go down. However, it would be really nice if Blue Jays did something like the NBA bubble, in Orlando, Florida, where they
Mhm,
designated like an area for all the players to like converge at and just
mhm,
play multiple games. But I feel like a lot of the baseball stadiums are like so scattered, right? And you can't really
yeah,
use an area or like lock off an area with like a field like that. So the only possible thing I can think of is IMG Academy, but like I don't understand where they'll get like the food, all the amenities for the players.
yeah. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how it all plays out. I think NBA and NHL haven't really set out their plans of how they're gonna play the games. MLB, to be honest, I'm not sure, but they are scheduled to open in July 23rd or 24th is their opening day.
Yeah,
But like it's going to be interesting to watch the season and how it plays out as well because it's 60 games only, and baseball is a sport about runs. So who knows? Like, the Baltimore
exactly.
Orioles were dead last season. Who knows if they somehow catch fire and go on to make the playoffs during a 60-game run? Like who knows what can happen in 60 games? It's only 60 games. That's 100 less games than what the regular amount of games in a normal season is in baseball. It's 162, but 60. Who knows what can happen?
Like going back to like that hot streak. Like my prediction is I feel like whatever team catches fire like first, I feel like they'll take it all the way in my opinion.
I actually didn't know until now that baseball teams played 162 games in a season. In
Yeah,
an
because they
MLB
play
season,
they
that's
play
crazy.
almost every day. Because baseball, it's not like as big of an energy draining sport as maybe basketball is or hockey is, but it is like
Hmm.
a sport that you can play almost every other
And
day.
yeah, and not only that, there's like so many rotations and rest days for the players, so it's much
Uh,
easier to play constant games.
so wait, how long is the season for? Like, from when
It's
does it
like
start?
around I believe like 6 months,
So the
Okay.
normal season is
5 6
April
months.
to April to September, and the playoffs begin in October, but the playoffs end in November because
Oh,
there's
they're
so many games.
actually on track, kind of.
Yeah, not yeah, but they only could play a 60-game season this year
Okay.
because a large majority got cut out,
And
and
there's
they
also
also
that major salary cut too.
yeah, that's the big thing. Like it looked like a month ago that the season wouldn't even happen in the first
Exactly, that's
place.
what I believe
The,
too.
the MLB and the Players Association were going back and forth negotiating of whether they could even start their season. The Players Association wanted bigger salaries, not bigger salaries, but normal salaries. The owner said, "Nah, we're not doing that." And it looked like for a second there, it seemed like this entire season was not gonna start. And luckily, they came to an agreement, and it looks like it will start if everything goes to plan and not any. Hopefully, the pandemic doesn't come in the way here. But I'm not sure. Juno, do you think the MLB owners and the Players Association can ever mend their fences? Because from the looking stemming from 1994 during the players' strike, coming back to 2020, it doesn't seem like they ever reconciled. Do you think there's a
No, to
possibility
be
for them
honest,
to reconcile in the
I
future?
don't think they'll ever like come to agreements because like their wants and needs are so different. As like the owners will always look at it at business perspective, and players will always look at it more of like a, what is more fair. But as you already know in business, like the point of it is to use the players like merchandise. They're like just pawns in like a big game. So like trading, contracts, it's just all part of
Mhm.
business. So like everything like salaries, like fairness, I don't think it like for the business owners it'll never play a part in the decision, but for players that's like one of their major factors. So I don't think they can ever come to agreements.
Yeah, it's shocking to see like the NBA, like the fact that they're like the owners and the players association are are on good terms. It's kind of sight to see because we don't see that
Exactly.
commonly in sports. You don't see that like commonly in the NHL. or in the NFL where the owners and the Players Association are not really that close. But in the NBA they are, so that's a good thing for them. But really, to move on from the MLB, let's move into the NHL, another sports league that is returning soon. They were one of the first Big Four sports leagues to announce their return to play plan, which let me try to break it down for you because I know Samuel and Juno don't follow hockey as much as I do. I'm not sure if much of our listeners do. So let me try to explain it to me to the best that I can do, the best of my ability. Pardon me. So be sure to follow along here, guys. All right. So the NHL has 31 teams in their league. The return to play plan is a 24 team playoff. You heard that right. 24 team playoff. 7 teams are guaranteed not a chance to win a Stanley Cup. 24 teams are given a chance. The reason why they said 24 is because it's an even number, so it helps with their whole playoff seeding format. And also, the playoff race when the season closed was actually very, very tight. So we didn't know who was guaranteed a playoff spot and who wasn't. So the way that this is going to work is that the top 4 teams in each conference get an automatic bye to what is actually known as the first round. So the first round of the NHL playoffs, the first round of NBA playoffs, whatever you guys know it, call it as the Eastern Conference quarterfinals. Top four teams get an automatic bye to that. They're automatically in it. The rest of the 8 teams in each conference play playoff series, not playoff, play-in series, to determine who gets into the first round. So in the Eastern Conference, the 5th seed will face the 12th seed, the 6th seed will face the 11th seed, the 8th seed will face the 9th seed, and so forth. In a 5-game series to determine who goes into the round of 16. That will happen in the East. That will happen also in the West. You guys follow so far?
Yeah.
All right. So to really give the top 4 teams a chance to in the second round or the first round, because they're going to be off playing for so long, they're going to play a round robin series to determine the seedings for first, second, third, and fourth in the conference. But also they'll have to make up the points lost during the regular season from when they last played. So a team like the Boston Bruins, it is impossible for them to be caught up in the Eastern Conference with how many games are scheduled in the round robin. So they are 100% guaranteed first place in the Eastern Conference. Same goes for the West, but the West, it's not as clear cut. So there is no team guaranteed first in the West just yet. So teams like Boston, Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, and the Washington Capitals are guaranteed first round in the East. Teams such as St. Louis, Dallas, Colorado, and I forget what the last team was. Let me just look it up right now. Whoever it is, I'll also look it up, is going to be guaranteed a spot in the Western Conference first round, no matter what. It's the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yo, yes. Who's your pick
Yeah.
to win the NHL season? NHL title this season?
I'll get to that, but it's I don't know because that's how the NHL is. Because the league is very not complicated, but it's not as clear cut as the NBA is, where there's definitely like a title contender and a pretender. There's like 8 contenders, so it's hard to pick. But let me explain the draft lottery and how that would work, because the draft lottery happened on Friday, and it's extremely confusing of how everything went down. All right. So there's 31 teams in the league. 16 teams make the playoffs. 5 teams miss out on the regular season. Same goes with the return to play format. So how this will work is the 7 teams that are guaranteed not a spot in the playoffs, they are out. The regular season is finished. They are going to be put in a lottery. Other 8 teams that are supposed to be in the lottery have placeholder spots. So there are question marks beside the 8th to 15th team as to who they could be, but they're giving placeholder odds to determine who would win the first overall pick. The first overall pick this year is supposedly going to be Alexis Lafreniere. He is like a coveted superstar. People think that he's one of the next best players in hockey. He looks amazing from the looks of it. If you can see his games, he is the best player in the draft, but he looks amazing. He's coveted. People want him. He's a superstar in the making, right?
Yeah.
So a team that won the draft lottery, first overall pick, we don't know yet because the team that won has a question mark beside it. So how this would work is that when the qualifying playoffs end, the 8 teams that lose their series have a 1 in 8 chance of getting this coveted superstar. So a team that looked like in March that was guaranteed a place in the playoffs, a team like Pittsburgh or Edmonton, which looked like they were 100% going to make the playoffs, could end up getting the first overall pick.
Oh, that's crazy.
So in my opinion, this is not a good way to do this because it's not fair. It seems like to the teams
Yeah.
that were 7th.
So
and
you're
all that
saying
stuff.
like the system is like not right.
It's not as fair as it could have been. In my opinion, it is entertaining. It is chaotic. It is fun to watch. But as a person that like loves the integrity of sports as much as the chaos, it doesn't seem fair because they could have done it in a way where they held the lottery after the qualifying season to ensure that it's fairness for who gets it. But now teams like Montreal, who were dead last, who the dead last team to make the qualifying playoffs, 24 out of 24 teams, can throw their playoff series because it doesn't look like they had a chance to make the playoffs in the first place, just because to get a 1 in 8 chance of getting this French Canadian superstar, which would be great for Montreal. It I don't know. It kind of throws off. It adds another layer on top of the qualifying playoffs, which is going to be interesting to watch. But it kind of drives away from the fairness and the integrity of the qualifying playoffs in the
But
first place.
wouldn't a team with more like fair teams make it interesting, or no?
It would, but like the thing is, a team like Detroit, who had one of the worst regular seasons in a long time, finished with the 4th overall pick. If it was a way that they could get I mean, it's fair, like it's gonna happen, but like a team like Montreal or no, not a team like Pittsburgh or Edmonton, who were guaranteed probably a spot in the playoffs, they just had to win a couple more games in order to like clinch their spot, could finish with the 1st overall pick over Detroit, even though they had a great regular season.
So you're saying like the Celtics or like Milwaukee getting like a first overall pick, even though they're having a great season.
I mean, Pittsburgh is a team that has Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin on it, like 2 of the greatest players in the NHL right now. And NHL it's hard to build a super team, but if there is a super team in the NHL, you look towards the Pittsburgh Penguins, right? And if they get a player like Alexis Lafreniere, that is insane because they would literally just rebuild their future while also being great in the present. It's kind of crazy, and then I feel like it's one of the more chaotic things to happen in memory. But the NHL, the reason why I say I don't know who could win the title is because of the parity within the league. As I said before, it's hard to really build a super team in the NHL. The reason why is because of the salary cap. The NHL has a hard salary cap. And the NBA, it has a soft salary cap. That means you can go over the salary cap, but you have to pay luxury tax. And the NHL, you can't. You can't go over it. It's hard. If you don't go, you can't go over it. If you do, you get penalized, and you can't play a certain game or something like that, right? So because of this, and it's also substantially lower than what it is in the NBA. It's like 83.5 million to build a roster in the NHL. In the NBA, it's like 110 or something like that. So there's a big gap between it. You can't really build a super team. And the players, like the big time players, like the Connor McDavids of the league and Austin Matthews, they don't get big contracts. The biggest contract in the NHL is 8 years, $12.5 million.
Oh, the Edmonton Oilers, right?
Connor McDavid has it of the Edmonton Oilers. Bismack Biyombo signed a contract in 2016 that pays him almost $18 million per year. He is getting more money from his sports contract than Connor McDavid is. And one player is Bismack Biyombo, the other is Connor McDavid. This might seem as a bad thing for the NHL because they're not making that much money. But it also kind of benefits them in a way, in my opinion. Because the reason why I think it benefits them is the fact that they can't have super teams. So there's parity among the league. The superstars are scattered around the league. Connor McDavid is on Edmonton. Austin Matthews on Toronto. Sidney Crosby on Pittsburgh. Alex Ovechkin on Washington. It's hard to see those players team up. In the NBA, it'll kind of be a lot more easier to do that if you're a rich team. Like teams such as Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, KD, Draymond Green, DeMarcus Cousins in the NBA, it's nearly impossible to see that in the NHL. And because of the parity within the league, it leads to unpredictable outcomes in the playoffs. And the first round of the playoffs is amazing because you don't know who's going to win. Last year, the Tampa Bay Lightning had one of the best regular seasons in NHL history. They tied the record for most wins in a season. Like, to really put it back into basketball terms for people that don't follow hockey, imagine a team went 72-10 in the regular season, right? Not 73-9, 72-10. Let's say 72-10, right? Then they proceeded to get swept in the first round. That's how unpredictable the NHL is. The Tampa Bay Lightning had one of the best regular seasons of all time, and they got swept in the first round. They didn't even win a single playoff game. That's how entertaining the NHL playoffs is. And that is why the NHL playoffs, in my opinion, is the best playoffs in all of sports. Because of the parity within the league, the superstars are scattered, which leads to unpredictability, but not so unpredictable and so wild that it kind of leads to like boringness, but it's so unpredictable and so entertaining and so gauging that there's Cinderella runs that are entertaining, but not Cinderella runs that are boring, because sometimes you see in some sports there are Cinderella runs that you kind of snooze at, and the NHL you don't snooze, and that's why I think the NHL is better than the NBA playoffs and the NHL, MLB playoffs, NFL playoffs, best playoffs in all sports, in my opinion, because in NBA you can kind of have an idea of who gets to the end, like into the conference finals. You have an idea. In the NHL, you have no clue who could get to the end, bro. It's crazy. Like the last year, the conference finals featured a team that finished seventh in the conference.
So you're telling me right now that like in the NHL, right? There haven't been superstars that take like serious pay cuts to go play with other superstars.
It's not as common to see in the NHL than in the NBA because you don't get that much money in the first place.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Because the superstars are so scattered, it leads to such chaos. Like last year, the teams that finished first and second in each conference
Got swept in playoffs.
lost their playoff series in the first
That's
round.
crazy.
The Tampa Bay Lightning finished first in the East. They lost. Who was it in the West? I think it was the Calgary Flames finished first in the West. They lost the first round in 5 games. Second place was the Washington Capitals in the East. They lost their series. Second place in the Western Conference was the Nashville Predators. They lost their series. It's so unpredictable and it's so wild that it's so gauging to watch as a fan. And that's why the NHL playoffs, based on the first round alone, is the most entertaining playoffs in all sports. Some people might disagree with me. Some people might think that's a hot take, but in my opinion, it's facts.
Not gonna argue that today. Don't worry. It's an argument for another day.
So you don't think the NBA playoffs are better?
Oh, I do, but I haven't watched the NHL playoffs.
Okay, but why do you think the NBA playoffs are more like entertaining in your place? And then you can try to put it
It's
as
the atmosphere it creates, bro. Would you? I have a question for you. Would you rather watch an NBA playoff game or an NHL playoff game, not like live?
I would rather go to an NHL playoff game.
Well, in my opinion, I feel like it kind of like goes to like what sport we enjoy, but like normally I think that NBA finals would be more interesting because of like I know hockey is like fast paced and aggressive, but it's just like this factor of just a basketball game, you know. It's just I don't know, just it's just more exciting.
Yes, there's a lot of excitement in the air, bro. Watching an NBA finals game.
Yeah. Like I know both sports finals will obviously have like insane amount of excitement and like fans, but it's just like a different feeling in my opinion.
Yeah, but like we don't watch the NHL, so there's only so much we could say.
Exactly.
I mean, the NHL playoffs are freaking intense. Okay, let me try to break it down for you. A team in Tennessee, the Nashville Predators. Tennessee is not a hockey place. It's Southern America, Southern U.S.
Yeah, it's like it's a
They're-
music city.
yeah, it's a music city. Their atmosphere in their playoff games is incredible, and it's one of the best atmospheres I've ever seen watching a hockey game in my life. And the fact that they're a team in the South is crazy. Vegas Golden Knights is a team that came into the NHL a few years ago. How unpredictable the NHL is, Vegas in their first year of being in the league made it to the finals. Imagine the Charlotte Bobcats in 2004 going to the NBA finals. You couldn't see that. Why do you think coming back from a 3-0 deficit has never happened in the NBA, but it's happened multiple times in the NHL? Because there's parity within the league. In the NBA, there's not as much parity.
I can understand that part. Like you never know what's gonna happen. Is like your point, right?
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it's just that I just can't sit through like this goes the same for soccer, which is why like I personally cannot watch a soccer game like because I have to sit so long for like the between each goal, right? For example, for me like in baseball, there may not be like a point, but there'll always be some like action, like a hit or a home run, etc. And in basketball, there's like constant scoring. So I like just in my opinion, like I cannot sit through like a long period of time for each score. I just can't do that.
In my opinion, okay, you bring up soccer, and in my opinion, soccer has the best atmosphere of all sports as a fan. Have you seen Arsenal and Tottenham games? They're incredible to watch. The atmosphere in soccer is the best atmosphere in all of sports. European soccer fans are crazy. I think they actually have mental illnesses. That's how crazy they are for their sport.
Because the rivalries between the teams go back so far that
It's so deep. It cuts
yeah,
deep. Like if there's an Arsenal fan and a Tottenham fan on the street, there's hate for each other, and they've never met each other before. They're probably throwing hands. That's how crazy it is. You would never see that in NBA. If you see a Lakers fan and a Celtics fan, oh, they're gonna laugh. Oh yeah, you're a Lakers fan. I don't care. Blah blah blah. But in soccer, if there's an Arsenal fan and a Tottenham fan, they see each other on the road, there might be a fight breaking out.
Yeah, like from like what you said, but I feel like the reason why probably soccer is like even though like I may not like it, why it's so intense, like because there's so many like intense rivalries between so many like teams for like but like in baseball probably the only like situation like that would be the Korean national team versus the Japanese national team because they have like a like a nation rivalry for like years and years and years. So whenever like those two games go, it's like the entire country watches like 50 million Korea and like hundreds of millions and like 100 million like in Japan. It's like the whole like countries are watching that game. But like in soccer, I guess there's like so much situation like that with just regular teams, right? Which makes it,
Yeah.
I guess, the atmosphere crazy. But in my opinion, I tried watching soccer. I tried watching hockey. It's just like I don't know. Like I just need like constant movement.
I feel like North Americans are just wired different. They like fast paced sports.
Yeah, like I just
'Cause, like
can't.
soccer is big here, but it's not massive here. It's just okay here. Like soccer isn't massive here.
No, hockey. You're right. You're right. It's exciting, but like, it's like they're just going back and forth, back and forth. Like I just get bored. I don't know. I just get bored.
In my opinion, hockey is the most fast-paced sport in all the sports. You know why? Because they're on skates.
Oh, that's true.
They are going 25 miles per hour constantly. They're bumping into each other. There's glass boards that they're hitting each other in. There's fights that can happen. So you're talking about their constant pace, constant this, constant that. If you're looking for consistency in a sport, hockey should be your one to go to. If there is constant movement, there's constant action that is occurring within a hockey, that in my opinion makes hockey the greatest sport in North America. You could disagree with me. You could think that's a hot take.
Yeah, it is a hot take. It's a really hot take. It's a really spicy one.
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand where you're coming from. I really do. But it's just like, it's like hockey. You're right. Hockey. There's a lot of action going on, but I guess you could argue the same with baseball. It's just repetitive, right? But I don't know. It's just hockey. Sometimes like it just gets like repetitive. The same thing,
Okay, if we're talking
over.
about repetitiveness, isn't basketball repetitive then? Isn't football repetitive then?
It is no. Football, in my opinion, is an interesting. Like it's like more like an interesting game. I know it's not fast paced, right? Because there's so many like there's downs constantly, but it's just like I don't know. I think it's just like the way we grow up, we see sports differently.
I agree. I agree. Like it's obviously like entertainment is subjective. Like uh, I'm just saying that there's a lot of people that hate on hockey when hockey is as great as any other sport there is, in my opinion. Like people hate on hockey. Oh, it's boring. Blah blah blah. How can you see that little puck thingy? Like the fact that people can fight and throw hands in the middle of a game is kind of crazy, and it's kind of interesting to watch, in my opinion. And the fact that there's parity within the league that we didn't see in the NBA for like 10 years, it's just more of an entertainment to watch because every team has a chance.
But like to be honest, I think like what makes a sport really intriguing to someone is the more you understand the game, right? Like, because for me, if I were to watch a hockey game, I understand. Like, I did watch hockey actually quite a bit back in I believe like when I was like 4 years ago.
Mhm.
But then like I never really understood much of it, so maybe that's a factor of why I can't really get into it as much.
Yeah, when I first fell in love with hockey, I was a basketball fan, thick and through thin. Like always a basketball guy. And then I said, "Why am I going to watch hockey? It's so boring." And then I gave it a chance. I went through the curves of like learning how to watch the sport, and learning like the things within it, and slowly but surely, I fell in love with it. I think you just have to give it a chance. I think there's a lot of people that doubt hockey, and they have to give it a chance. And one of my biggest opinions, like I said this last podcast, people always say to me because I'm black and I like hockey that they say, "Oh, you shouldn't like that thing, right?" But if if hockey was not as expensive as it is, like to really fund, I think hockey would be probably one of the most popular sports in Canada. Is the most popular sport in Canada? Correct that statement, but it'd be a lot more popular within the black communities, and I feel like that's the thing that's struggling with people.
Yeah, because like I feel like a lot of the much simpler sports are always the most popular. For example, soccer, you just need a ball, right?
Yeah,
Basketball, you just need
yeah,
a ball, and
basketball
there's like
shoes.
yeah, and there's basketball courts everywhere. Same with football, and baseball is a kind of a factor. Like in Dominican, they use like sticks and socks,
Hmm.
but like the socially, like it's not really accepted here. Just grabbing a stick and throwing socks at people, right? So I feel like that's the reason why it never really transitioned as a simple sport here in North America. That's just how I see it.
Hockey, you definitely need more equipment, which
Exactly.
leads to more funding. And in my opinion, if it was a lot less cheaper to fund, it would be a more popular sport. And people always say, like, there's this like a statement that I heard: the smaller that the ball gets, the more expensive the sport gets.
I mean, in all fairness, gym hockey is actually pretty. It's pretty good. It's
It's
pretty good.
fun. It's not. Don't lie. It's fun.
It's fun. It is
Hockey
fun.
is like up there with baseball. Baseball is, in my opinion, my favorite sport to play because it's just so fun. But hockey's number two, 100%. Like better. I like playing hockey or baseball more than I like playing basketball.
Speaking of basketball, NBA is coming back real soon.
Yeah, in a month time.
Yeah, it's actually exactly a month, July 31st from now.
A lot of things are going down in the NBA right now. A lot
Yeah.
of people are saying that they're stepping out and not wanting to continue the season because of COVID or because of the Black Lives Matter to make a statement.
Yeah, like a lot of players, like Kyrie, they think they're trying to take away the light from the Black Lives Matter movement and put it into basketball and like shift people's attention.
Yeah,
Nah, but I think basketball could be a good platform to like
yeah, exactly.
shed light on everything that's going on. And I think the NBA did announce that you could put the names of people who have suffered at the hands of the
Yeah.
police
Yeah,
victims of police brutality, and other statements like Black Lives Matter and all of that on your jerseys. So that's a really good thing to see.
I remember, I think someone brought this up. I forgot who, but how even though this may like sound like how Kyrie Irving says it, it's a business at the end of the day, right? They're just trying to like make money, financially, and like everything like that's like a business.
yeah. I hate the people who say that these sports are only returning because they're trying to make money. I mean,
It is a business. That's the only reason they're
that's the
returning.
only reason they're there in the first place is to make
Exactly.
money, right? Like I agree with you, Samuel. Like there's the only reason sports are created is a way to get money,
A
and the
business
reason
perspective.
and people are saying, "Oh, they're only coming back for money." What else would they be coming back for? Let's be real here. It's a business at the end of the day.
That's true. That is true.
I mean, they also said NBA also said that they're gonna put Black Lives Matter like paint on the court to like show their support for the cause.
Yeah,
But it's gonna be interesting to see the 8 game regular season, everything that's gonna go down.
yeah.
I want to get you
Two
guys'
teams.
thoughts and opinions right now. Who do you think is gonna come out with the Larry O'Brien Trophy at the end of the day?
I actually don't.
I'm not gonna say who's gonna win it, but I have a really really good feeling for Giannis right now. The way he's developing, like, but not only that, Zion Williamson, that guy is amazing.
So those two players are gonna like showcase their talents during this.
All I know is 100% Zion would have won Rookie of the Year over John Morant if he never got that knee injury in his first couple games.
All right. So, but who do you think is gonna take it all though? Do you have like a idea?
Okay, that's a very hard question. That's a very hard question.
Okay. How about this? Let me like make it easier.
Who I would prefer?
Who do you think is gonna make it to the finals? Not who do you want. Who do you think?
What do you think?
I think Lakers versus Bucks will be could be the possible final matchup. Like my money is on that Lakers versus Bucks as final game.
Not gonna lie to you, Sam. This might come as bias, but I agree with the Lakers on the Western Conference. I mean, that's not biased for me. I'm a Kawhi Leonard fan, but Lakers from the West. But I'm gonna say the Raptors from the East.
I don't think the Raptors are gonna beat the Bucks in the if they, I think they're gonna meet like the Eastern Conference Finals, but I don't think they're gonna beat them.
My opinion, Giannis just keeps getting exposed at the end.
Like exactly like what I was saying, Giannis, like he's developing an actual 3-point shot now, a perimeter game, and who knows how much he's been working during this quarantine. You never know.
I mean, yeah, but at the end of the day, Nick Nurse is the best coach in the league, and he has shown in the past that he can figure out a plan to stop Giannis. Yes, he doesn't have Kawhi this time, but he does have former Defensive Player of the Year Marc Gasol and stud defensive players in OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry, and Fred VanVleet is above average as a defender.
But don't forget the Bucks are also a good defensive team. Let's not act like they don't play good
Okay,
defense.
yes, but if we're gonna say our team is going to beat the Bucks, it's gonna be the Raptors.
Yeah, my money's on the Raptors.
Okay, but like, for you, another thing on the Giannis situation, I feel like experience plays a major role in a player's performance. So Giannis, how much seasons has it been?
I think it's just
Like 8 seasons, 7 seasons.
Yeah, like 6, 7, yeah.
Yeah, because in any sport, like not only basketball but any sport, experience plays such a huge
Mhm.
role, right? And every year, as you can see, Giannis has steadily been improving. So I don't think like we should take out the fact that Giannis has been gaining quite a bit of experience, over the years. So it's gonna be really hard to like compare Giannis to his previous performance.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Like
fair.
last
That's
year.
fair. I mean, yeah, the evolution of Giannis has been incredible to watch.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I'm just saying that if there's anybody against to stop them, it's gonna be Nick Nurse. And if I'm gonna have to put my money on it, I'm gonna bet that Nick Nurse is gonna find a way to do it. He's the best coach in the league.
let's talk about like the 8 spots for the Eastern and Western Conference final. Western Conference, the 8 spot is between like 4 teams.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Who do I think is gonna get it?
yeah, what you think is gonna get it?
In my opinion, it's between two. I know this is gonna piss off one of our closest friends. The Blazers have no chance. The Blazers have no chance of getting there.
Shout out SA. That's why. Shout out SA.
The Blazers, I don't think they have a chance.
Yeah, we're losing.
This is kind of true. But I think it's gonna be a battle between the Grizzlies and the Pelicans.
The Pelicans do have easier games to play, but I think it's gonna be between them because I think the Grizzlies are like 3 games ahead of them.
Mm-hmm. I think it's gonna be hard. The Grizzlies do have a hard schedule too, so I don't know if I'm gonna have to put my money on it. JJ Redick's not missing the playoffs again. I don't think he's never missed the playoffs in his whole entire career.
Yeah, I'm going with the Pelicans.
I'll go.
100%.
I'll put my money on the
And
Pelicans.
I think if the Lakers Pelicans first round, I think
NBA wants that to happen so bad, bro.
Zion's gonna put up a show. They probably still win a game or 2. I think it's just gonna be a game, but Zion's gonna put up a show. Zion, Ingram, and them boys.
100%. I know the NBA is at the edge of their seat, just
they're
waiting for
rooting
that to happen.
Zion,
They're
that's gonna
waiting
be
for
crazy.
LeBron. They're waiting for LeBron versus Zion. They're gonna market that.
Zion is like a crazy marketing tool, even in Duke. The crazy marketing tool.
Crazy, insane.
I forgot the stats, but I remember there was some stats going around about how Zion, increased marketing for Duke and like the jersey sales and all that. It's just crazy.
It's gonna be fun to watch.
Remember the game he went down? Did you see how packed the stadium was? The
Yeah,
arena was.
it was Duke versus North
Barack
Carolina.
Obama was there. I mean, come on.
That game was packed.
Yeah,
packed.
the Nike shoes.
But aside from marketing, Zion is actually an amazing player. Like he's an amazing.
That type of stuff you
amazing player,
can't
in my
teach it,
opinion.
bro. It's just raw talent. You can't teach that.
No, that's raw talent.
Yeah,
He has a lot to
Okay.
work on, but like that's raw talent. You can't teach that.
But a rookie just coming in and taking over like that, that's just insane.
it's gonna be a fun time to be a sports fan this summer. We finally are gonna see a long period of time where the MLB, the NHL, the NBA, and the NFL are all playing sports at the exact same time. That doesn't really happen in sports. It only happens maybe once a year. But to see this constantly happening over the next couple of months, it's going to be a very, very fun time to be a sports fan in 2020. Hopefully, that can make up for everything that's going on.
A couple dark horses, and which teams you think could like surprise everyone during the playoffs?
I'm gonna take the Denver freaking Nuggets.
Okay.
Low key. The Denver Nuggets are so good, and I hope that they made the conference finals last year. And if there's gonna be a team that's gonna upset the Lakers or Clippers or the NBA's dream Western Conference Finals, it's gonna be the Denver Nuggets, in my opinion. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, the team is just they got Jeremy Grant as well. So, I mean, the team is just really good. They have Paul Millsap, Gary Harris. They're a really well functioned team, and they have a great head coach, Mike Malone.
I feel like the 76ers and the Celtics could surprise us too, because the Celtics do have a lot of great. They have arguably they have the best starting lineup in the NBA, the Boston Celtics. So yeah,
That's a good team. That's a good pick. Juno, who do you think is your dark horse to maybe upset a team?
Okay, in my opinion, I don't think nobody should be sleeping on Brooklyn.
KD's not coming back though.
KD's
They're
not
playing
coming
good, but
back,
KD's not coming
and
back.
Kyrie's probably not playing. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure. DeAndre Jordan's not playing either.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
KD's not
You're
Said
right.
he's
You're
not coming
right.
back. Kyrie-
And the Kyrie factor too. I totally forgot about that.
And as of right now, if they were to play, it would be Nets versus Raptors, and I don't think they're gonna beat the Raptors, even with Kyrie.
Yeah, even with Kyrie. Yeah, I just
But you're right. You're right. Simon, I'm gonna go with your Celtics. Tatum, Walker,
They
Hayward,
have a
Brown.
script.
Like it's a crazy. Yeah. It's a
I mean,
crazy
the
roster.
Celtics are really good, but are they really a dark horse though? Because like when I say dark horse, I mean like a team that you.
No, I know what you mean by dark horse, but I don't think they're a dark horse. But they're a team a lot of fans, like counting
Yeah.
out.
Like I don't think a lot of people are picking them
Like
to make the finals.
yeah, like they're up there for teams, but no one really takes them. I guess if I should say seriously.
I feel like a lot of people forget about the Nuggets though. I think that they get lost in the pack a lot. They finished second last year, and they're probably gonna finish third this year. They're a good team.
Denver's not a big market, so like they're not always in the conversation.
You're right. Like I like the market. Like I don't think they can market themselves as well.
I mean, if Denver somehow pulls it off, it's gonna be interesting to see. Because as a person that loves upsets more than anything, I want to see the NBA cry because they don't get the Clippers Lakers Western Conference Finals. I just want to see it. Just the chaos in me just wants to see it.
And LeBron and JR are back. I mean, the Lakers
Kenny
just
Smith, baby.
picked them up today, and so they got Dion Waiters and JR coming in. So it's about to be a fun playoffs,
It is.
Hopefully he doesn't do anything stupid this time.
I mean, that's a whole topic for another day. I think we could do a 2-hour podcast about that Game 1 finals and J.R. Smith's decision. But I think that's all we're going to have for you guys today. We're going to have to wrap it up and end it there. It's going to be a fun time to be a sports fan in 2020, to say the least. Hopefully, you can make up for everything that's going on, the whole pandemic, all of quarantine, all of lockdown. Hopefully, sports can give us that entertainment back that we were deeply missing. But yeah, that's all we're going to have for you guys today. Make sure to follow our Instagram, follow all our social medias. That's going to be in the details below. Leave anything that you guys want to see us to talk about. We'll try to fit it in there. Just DM our Instagram. We'll try to fit it in. But yeah, that's all we got for you guys today. Hope you guys feel well. You guys enjoy your day. Thank you for listening to KeyCast, the podcast that unlocks doors. See ya.
I was so scared, don't show me love. Now I do it like a saying while I run it up. Tell me, boy, you insane, only way is up. It's your welcome to the 20s, I hope